the palmetto sky. Friday night's calling and the towns go quiet. From Doug Shaw Memorial to John McKissick Field, Carolina football, it's the heart we feel. Pickup trucks line up, tailgates in a row, Hot Stadium's rocking, Abbeville's ready to go. The Sumter Gamecocks charge, Gaffney's standing tall, every small town's dreaming neath the lights of fall. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. In Gilbert, America, the bleachers fill with pride. Cheerleaders shout, the band's playing, no one's staying inside. The boys in pads hit hard, chasing that old dream. Under stadium lights, it's more than just a team. Mamas clutch their programs, daddies yell the calls, grandpas talk of legends in these hallowed football halls. From the low country marshes to the upstate's clay, four-quarter Friday lights the Carolina way. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. Shaw's roar to McKissick's sacred ground. Hot Stadium's fire, you can feel the sound. Sumter Gamecocks fly, Gaffney holds a line, J-Mo run the dang ball, we're screaming for a sign. Rivalries burn bright, the clock's ticking down. On four-quarter Friday, we're the talk of the town. When the whistle blows and the scoreboard fades away, the lessons from the field guide us every day. Teamwork, grit, and pride, it's more than just a score. Carolina football's what we're fighting for. From the PD rivers to the upstate's misty hills, four-quarter Friday gives our hearts a thrill. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. So here's to the Palmetto boys, giving it their all on a four-quarter Friday. South Carolina stands
tall. Welcome to Four-Quarter Friday, part of the Chief Sports Network. Talking South Carolina high school sports every Friday morning, and proudly presented by the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association, with weekly appearances from coaches, players, and media around the state. Let's go! To kick off the first quarter. Happy Friday!
Yes, happy Friday indeed. This is Four Quarter Friday. You've got Matt Smith here, Rob Williams there in the HD Law Studios. Great guest coming up. We'll tell you about that in just a few minutes as we continue to talk baseball with this warm weather. And you can see, in my background, I don't let baseball go. I don't let baseball go. College baseball is still happening in Omaha. Of course, there's big news in our state in terms of the college coaching carousel, but we will bring that in to what it means on the high school level as well. We will do that today, but this is a time of year where all of the major sports collide in high school, because what used to be kind of holiday time, vacation time, time to take trips, now it's time to grind. Baseball, basketball, football, all still happening. We still have news, and we've got news from the golf course as well with some high school players from our state. So here we are, June 12th. We welcome you into Four Quarter Friday. I thought it might slow down. It hasn't slowed down. Rob Williams has been everywhere. Rob, you said, hey, surprise me with what we start off with. I'll tell you what I couldn't stop thinking about. I'll tell you what I could not stop thinking about. And then we will try to get to all of the news, and then we'll introduce our guest on the Leading Edge guest line. But I couldn't stop thinking about Colt Fowler getting a major offer because, and that is Burns point guard Colt Fowler, 5A player, state player of the year, because I thought his size, lack of it, might make him overlooked, but he can do everything. He's a magician on the floor. And I'm so glad that is being recognized by some major programs that, I don't know, look at, can he handle it? Yeah, he can handle it. Can he shoot it? Yeah, he can shoot it. Can he create for others? Absolutely. What about his instincts? He was born with a ball in the crib, literally, because of his family, his father, Lane Fowler, his coach, great player himself. As we say in the South, he comes by it honestly. So I was really heartened to see Colt Fowler get a big-time offer this week.
Yeah, I agree. Colt is I've known Colt since middle school, and so I've kind of watched him grow and develop, and you're right. It's always been there. There's been no doubt for anybody around him in that District 5 region that has seen Colt kind of grow up, and now he is well known in basketball circles around the state and beyond. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think there was ever a doubt in anybody's mind that this was going to be the trajectory for this kid as he continued to grow and develop his game. You're right, Smitty. He does everything. He shoots it really well. He creates. He has a nice finishing package. The thing for me, though, is his tenacity and his competitive nature is one of the fiercest that I've ever seen across levels. Josh Staley had some really great quotes about him. Josh is the head coach at Ridgeview, who faced Colt this year, and said, that he has gone up against or coached against players like Colin Sexton and Asia Wilson, and he named a few others. And Colt's one of the most talented guards that he's ever seen. So high praise, and he gets the offer from Lamont Paris and South Carolina. We'll continue to monitor. We'll talk to Colt and see kind of where that situation is headed as he gets into his senior year and starts trying to make some decisions there. But yes, Smitty, it is a jam-packed month again. We thought May was crazy. At least May was contained in the South Carolina High School League, Smitty. We are now full-blown outside of it, and every external organization is rolling. Football teams are on tour, essentially, as they do every year at this point in time. This one 7-on-7 and O-line, D-line camp after another, and these teams are on the move. If you're following us at Four Quarter SC on X, you'll see kind of we are spraying out some reposts for these teams that are traveling around. Lots of teams making their way through Shane Beamer camps and Dabo Sweeney there in Clemson. You'll kind of see teams at both, but we've seen them across the state as well at Coastal, at Wofford, and then outside of the state at NC State, at North Carolina, at the University of Georgia, and beyond. Some I saw West Virginia this week as well. So teams are competing in 7-on-7 at a lot of major Division I schools to try to get their guys looks. So football's rolling. We're going to talk baseball in just a few minutes, so I'll save that. Like you said, it's a basketball live period right now. So if you're in the CSRA and you can get over to North Augusta today, go down there because there will be high quality basketball, state championship type basketball happening in North Augusta today. So and tomorrow as well. So a great opportunity to catch some hoops. Colt Fowler and Burns will be there. Ridgeview will be there, among others. So we're rolling along. That's for sure. And of course, in the I see Meredith over here in the chat box. Good morning, Meredith. We're going to mention the 2026 South Carolina Junior Match Play champion is Brady Sin, 2027 prospect out of Gilbert. So congratulations to Brady on that that championship that he was able to grab this week. Just continues to climb. This is a kid that really made a play, Smitty, in the state championship just a few weeks ago. He's hot. And
tell us about that event. That was a North Carolina, South Carolina event.
That's correct. So South Carolina junior boys match play.
Oh, I love match play. Match play.
So you kind of can watch it if you go back, and if you're not following Meredith, she's right there in the chat box. But at Mayor Taylor, MERTAYLOR on X, and she'll kind of give you the rundown there. You can just look through her profile and see how Brady continued to advance through that tournament. But yeah, high level competition, but he's used to it. Like I said, he was just in the state championship, and came storming back on day 2 to finish tied for second. So anyway, yeah, a lot of goodwill happening and a lot of good words being thrown around in the golf community. Meredith is not the only person who has contacted me about Brady Sin. I'll just say that there have been other people in the golf community that have said, "Hey, look out for this kid. He's on the rise."
No surprise. We churn them out in this state. And we also are churning them out on the football field. We'll get to that news in just a moment. I'll tell you about our guest. We've got Chris Dorsey set to join us here in about 5 minutes. Chris is the head coach for Richland Post 215 in American Legion, and we're having him on because I love American Legion baseball. And look, that is no disrespect to travel ball, but travel ball can be somewhat – it can be nebulous. It's hard to wrap your arms around. But I grew up playing American Legion ball, and for those that may have forgotten, maybe you're young, you said, man, what does it mean? Well, we have the veterans of Foreign Wars put together these American Legion posts across the country. And when you play American Legion baseball, you are representing that area, that town, those veterans that served to protect us, and you're wearing an American flag, which is the only time I wore an American flag on my uniform, playing American Legion baseball. And I mean, all of us, you say wear it with great pride. You do, because it's just a different kind of reminder. And the way you're treated, representing your community, and you're coming together, it's a bit of like an all-star team because you're coming together with players from other high schools in that area. And Chris Dorsey, he knows ball. Okay, he played in the Mets organization as a minor league player, and he saw American Legion was hurting, so he went to restart it. And therefore he knows a lot about the high school landscape because he's out scouting players during the year, enjoying high school baseball. He's a seam head. He loves the game, and he wanted to bring American Legion back, and he wants to give players opportunities. So he created some junior teams too, which has started to explode across the state. You'll hear all about that, but I just wanted to tell you it was important. It's important to me, and I think important to anybody that played American Legion baseball. And again, that I'm not throwing shade at travel ball. That is its own thing and has its own place. But for me, I loved that I played American Legion baseball. And I mean, I played at Inman, but there's, everybody. You play at Greer, you play in Sumter, which has big time pride. You play on the coast, and wherever you are, there's something about that community playing with players from nearby high schools. And then, like I said, there's it's a different vibe because you're playing your ability to play is based on the fact that you've got a post there that you are playing for. The veterans have they run. Oftentimes they feed you. They do things for you. They're there to cheer you on. You're representing them. It's a different vibe. So I'm glad American Legion Baseball has made a big comeback in our state. We'll talk to Chris Dorsey about that, but also about individual players, because with the shifting landscape right now in our state, so Russell Triplett is at the Citadel. They made the regionals this year. At one point, 8 of the 9 players on the field played high school ball in the state of South Carolina. You've got Kevin Schnall moving to Columbia now, taking Matt Williams with him, who knows this state so well. And he's coached at SMC, and now they've both been at Coastal Carolina for a number of years. They said they're going to recruit the state very hard. Monty Lee joins Chad Holbrook in Charleston. They're going to recruit the state hard. You've got Landon. What a combo that is, especially in recruiting. And you've got Landon Powell up in the upstate. And Eric Bakich says, he's going to renew, kind of like take a deep breath and look again at the way he does things. And that might mean coming harder at some in-state kids. So I think all of this is good for our state as a whole to have all of these names. These are names that you know. Oh, I didn't even Chris Lamonis.
Yeah, I was going to say it.
Who played his high school ball at Socastee. Don't sleep on this. That is a national championship level coach. Won a national championship at Mississippi State. Still the only one in that school's history. He's at Coastal Carolina right in his old backyard. And, of course, he was on that 1990 Citadel team that went to the College World Series. He knows how to recruit this state. I think all of that is good for players getting attention, and now they've got choices. They've got the Citadel and North Greenville and Wofford and Clemson and all of these teams in South Carolina and Clemson, all those things. And I feel like that is just a net positive. All of those names going to those schools, and we know how they feel about the Palmetto State, and then we know how they feel about the talent in this state. I think that's a net positive for us in the state of South Carolina and for baseball as a whole. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Chris Dorsey will join us. He'll have thoughts on that, the rebirth of American Legion Baseball, the comeback that it's made, and how it helps players get looks from colleges and helps them play at the next level. We'll do that when we come back. This is Four Quarter Friday.
Check the statewide high school scoreboard every Friday night on the Chief Sports app.
If you have experienced any sort of damage to your home or business, smoke, water, fire, or mold, visit RestaProSmidlandsSC.com. Proud supporters of South Carolina high school athletics.
Leading Edge Fundraising is the #1 fundraising solution in South Carolina for middle and high schools, club teams, and colleges. At Leading Edge, a personal representative does the work for you to make more money in just 1 hour. Leading Edge is your solution. It's a one-stop shop for over 10 different fundraising options that all run off the same proven process. Don't stress about insufficient budgets or lack of materials. Contact Leading Edge today and raise funds fast. Leading Edge, South Carolina. Raise more, do more, win more. LeadingEdgeFundraising.com.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Palm Casual Outdoor Patio Furniture proudly supports high school athletics across South Carolina. If it's time to make your outdoor space the best it can be, with lifetime warranties and guarantees, visit one of our Palm Casual stores in Myrtle Beach, Bluffton, Somerville, or Mount Pleasant. PalmCasual.com. PalmCasual.com. Turn on the lights. It's Friday night.
Welcome back to Four Quarter Friday, part of the Chief Sports Network. Let's talk ball.
Back on Four Quarter Friday, we are talking ball. We've got football later, basketball later, but right now we're talking baseball. Let's get to the diamond with Chris Dorsey. He is the head coach and general manager for Richland Post 215. They picked up another win last night. And Chris, as we bring you in, let me answer this question quickly. We've got a question for Dexter in the chat. Do you think Taj Marchand from Charleston could go pro, or maybe get a call from Schnall? We'll let Chris talk about that in a second. He could definitely go pro. Taj Marchand is a pro prospect for sure, and I think he's locked in at Ole Miss. And Mike Bianco does a tremendous job, and he's got them obviously in Omaha again. So I think Marchand,
they're having a decent year, right?
They're having a decent year. He does his thing. I think Marchand's very happy with his choice. I mean, I don't have any insider knowledge. I just think that Ole Miss is one of those schools. They've got Marchand locked in, and he is a big time player. I was so impressed with him when I got to watch him play out of James Island, and that's what we're bringing Chris Dorsey in, because Chris he was a stick himself, but then one of the things that he did was he saw a need in this state, especially in his backyard, in his area, to bring American Legion baseball back. I talked in the first segment about what it meant to me and wearing that American flag on my sleeve. And then Chris brings it back, adds junior teams as well. And then, if you'll allow me to brag on the kids for a second, you built it up so quickly, you won the state championship last year. So now, Chris, we'll turn it over to you. We want to hear you talk about everything, but just congratulations on the success you've had. And if you will, tell that story about loving baseball, loving this state, loving the Columbia area, and seeing a need to bring American Legion baseball back to these kids.
Yeah. So it's funny. We actually have won 2 state championships in 4 years. We won a junior state championship 2 years ago, the 17U. And so we've brought 2 home. I just, guys, I saw a need for an alternative to travel ball. And my kids had played it, in high school at that level, the 17, 18, 16, 15U travel ball. And everybody knocks it. Everybody says, hey, it's so expensive. And you see, a week ago, it was blowing up on Twitter. It was trending about youth sports and how expensive it is. And instead of bitching about it, I decided to do something about it. So that's what I'm a solutions guy. And so, I went out and I said, what can we do to save money for kids? Get good competition and find places where you don't have to travel 7 or 8 hours and spend the night in hotels every weekend. Well, I ran into former legendary player Derek Urquhart at South Carolina, and we got to talk. And my kids played at Hammond, and he was helping coach at at like Trinity Christian or Florence Christian, and we sat there and talked 30 minutes before a game. And I said, "Hey, what are you doing? Do you coach this team?" He goes, "No, I just help out." And I coached the American Legion team, and I like to come see a lot. I get to see a lot of players like that. And I said, "Well, tell me, American Legion's still alive?" I mean, I was so out of the loop, guys, that I didn't know. And he's like, "Yeah. In Florence, we're super strong. We've got the best players. Cam Canarella plays for me." And I'm like, "Well, what's the competition like?" He goes, "At the high level, it's still super strong." So I was just blown away that American Legion still existed. This was 5 or 6 years ago. And so I just, as an entrepreneur, when I get an idea, I just said, how can I, act on this idea? And it was the perfect time. I had my youngest son was graduating. He was going to play college baseball. Phillips Daniels, the former Citadel player, catcher, it was incredible. Such a leader. Xander Buchan, who was committed to South Carolina. Jake Sears, who went to North Greenville. All those guys were my son's best friends. And I set them on my back porch, and we just decided, I said, what are you guys doing this summer? They said, we don't really have anything going on because travel ball kind of ended at that age. And I said, let's do Legion. They were like, what's that? And so I explained it to them, told them about back in the day and all that good stuff. And they said, let's try it. And I love the story of, we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. I didn't, they didn't. We just went into this with a fresh start. We got a really good team together the first year. And our first game, I'll never forget it. It was at Lancaster. And I didn't know if we were going to be facing horrible competition, great competition, zero idea. So we went up and played Lancaster, and our first pitcher we faced was Amp Phillips, who was, Gamecock's Saturday night starter this year. And we got, a real good taste of what it was going to be like that the whole season. And so I remember going in to see Florence the first time, and I was just in awe. I actually got a selfie that I still have with me and Derek at home plate. So I was so excited just to be there. Now me and Derek compete hard against each other. And we're rivals, and I got tremendous respect for him because he was the one that kind of kept Legion alive for so long.
Yeah, Chris, look, but first of all, this is a baseball state, and we've seen that here in the past couple of weeks. I think sometimes we need the reminder. Before we even got you on here in the chat box, our friend from the broadcasting world, Taylor, here says the P-15s are coming for you. Love you, Chris, over there in Sumter. So you can see just the nature of how baseball – it captures the hearts of fans and community members across the state. What do you think about how does American Legion further advance that baseball community that is so tight knit and the circles that everybody runs in the state of South Carolina?
Yeah, man. What I love most about Legion is what's going on right now with our team. So if you think about AC Flora, they got rained out 2 or 3 times. Their season didn't end until June 1st or 2nd. So other Legion teams were playing. I had to push back the season a little bit to accommodate that. Well, we couldn't have any practices. We didn't have our preseason banquet. We had to just totally punt on that. So I had to bring in, these guys from around the community, basically at game day. And I talked to y'all last week on Thursday. That was really the first time we went down and played that North Charleston team that Kenny Wilkinson does a tremendous job with. And that was the first day I gave out uniforms and introduced players to other people. But my favorite thing about it is for example, obviously I'm not doing this at Richland Post 215 if we don't have AC4, what Andy Hallett's built. That's just the bottom line, because I'm not going to do something that I can't, excel at and have a chance to win. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So most of our players are from AC4, but there are good players at Westwood. There's good players at Spring Valley. There's good players at Cardinal Newman. And Ben Lippen, we had some guys from Ben Lippen last year. So we get guys from Westwood, Spring Valley. They come at Ridgeview. I've got a kid from Ridgeview. They come into our team and they don't know anybody, guys. Y'all remember back when y'all played Legion and you'd have new guys come in and they don't know anybody. And what's fun as a father and a mentor and is to see how I can bring these guys together. And I remember we played our second game on Tuesday night, and I looked at the dugout, and you've already got the Westwood and Spring Valley guys over on one side. You got AC4. It's like I told them after the game, it was like an 8th grade dance. And, you can't force that as a coach. You got to let it happen organically. And, for example, last night, we played in a really good tight game. We won 12-6, but it was a real tight game up until that. The team, I walked into the dugout after a little rally, and I just heard the rumblings of a team, everybody's in there moving and scattering. And it just gave me chills because I was like, we're 3 games into this, and the growth and the togetherness and the chemistry just in, 3 days is just incredible. And, kids don't worry about that kind of stuff. That's why I'm here. And so just to see that and like last night, a kid from Westwood, Austin Jeffcoat, I got to throw his name out there. I didn't know anything about him other than I'd heard that he was a very talented player. And, Westwood struggled. Hopefully they can, they got a good coach now. And I mean, they've had a good program, but they just don't have enough, as you guys know. You got to have a lot. So Austin Jeffcoat coach, who I've been blown away with, he hit a ball last night at least 103 or 4 miles per hour, line shot, home run over the fence. So showed me a lot of talent. He's built like Ron Gant at 18 years old, one of those kind of guys. And so you find guys like that. And then Asher Robinson, a kid from Ridgeview that I told before the season, I said, Asher, you're probably not going to play a lot because Dylan Hernandez is, maybe the best 2027 catcher in the state. And, I'm just trying to be honest with these guys. Well, Dylan's been out, so he's missed a couple games. Well, Asher fills in from Ridgeview. He's never caught a guy. He's, probably never seen that type of velocity as a catcher. He gets out there, just competes his heart out, plays so hard, gets 2 base hits. And to see the smile on his face after the game of going, I'm playing with really good players, guys. He's been, I think Ridgeview went, they didn't win many games. And so he's around these great players. I mean, he's around Charlie Scott. He's around Charlie Scott's going to individual workouts for the Padres and the Astros and all this stuff right now. So he's around a guy that's going to probably get drafted. And, around the winning culture of AC Flora that these guys bring in there. And it's just, Nathan Caldwell from Westwood also. He had 2 huge hits last night. He wasn't even in the starting lineup. And Jack Chetwood got hurt. He's going to be okay. He took a foul ball. But he comes in and gets 2 hits. And we're only 3 games into this, and you can see the excitement on my face because I need for this team to come together. That's the beautiful part for me.
There's no question about that. And this is Chris Dorsey again. It's Richland Post 215. He was talking about AC Flora and Andy Hallett and what he had built. What I love to hear you talk about, Chris, and we can hear how excited you get, is not just your team, and we'll dig into that a little bit more, but you get excited because you see the best players in the state right before their college starts. Like, there's a lot of guys that have been playing on television this year that you said, oh, I remember that kid when he was 17, he hit a ball, 450 feet against us. So if you could tell us a little bit about what you see as you travel, and that's the other thing about American Legion. So you've already been to the lower part of the state and everything. Tell us about guys that you get to see. And if you could mention some of the schools maybe they're committed to, we love to do that. We love to praise those kids who are getting to go to the next level.
Well, I started keeping a list. So the first time we ever went into Florence and kind of got a taste of what American Legion was like, it would remind, if we went back to the days that I played, when Legion was all you had, when there was no AAU or travel ball or any type of other things besides American Legion, that's what Florence felt like to me. So I'm sitting out there and I'm going, is that guy, that's Cam Canarella. I've heard so many things about him from, he was a really good player. Well, Derek looks at me, he goes, hey, he's 1 for his last 14, man. He went 4 for 5 that night, hit for the cycle. My brother was at that game. It's probably the last game. My brother has multiple sclerosis, primary progressive. Well, he was able to make that game, so it's kind of special to me. That's the last game he's been able to come watch. And he just said, man, that's Derek Jeter Jr. out there. And so I started keeping a list, guys, of all the players that I see. And it's been amazing that, to see the list now, because this is our 5th year. And to see the guys that I put on the list. I put Zach Hunt on my list when we played him. Zach was a guy from Dillon or somewhere way up there, on the North Carolina border, and nobody, country boy. And, I wrote him down, power, ball player, tough as nails. And then you go see him play, and some things never change, he's still tough as nails, got power, ball player. And so I write all these guys' names down, and I've got a list, very long of guys that have played. But guys that I've seen this year, it's really early. We were only 3 games into it, but man, if you're willing to talk about high school guys that I like a lot, I got to start with my guy from AC4 High School, Charlie Scott. Guys, I've been around the game for 40 or 50. I mean, I've been playing since I was 6 years old, so I've been around it for 50 years. You see guys every so often, once every so often, that have the ability to slow down the game. That have the ability to play the game fast, but it looks like they're not trying. that run like it's, almost like, just like a track star, the smoothness, that throw effortlessly, but it throws at 95 miles per hour. The ball jumps off their back. They catch balls that nobody else can catch. Charlie Scott he's an amazing player. And if you had me rank the best players, and I'm trying to stay unbiased, but it's hard not to see his talents. And I think Taj Marshawn and Charlie Scott, to me, are the best two position players in the state of South Carolina for the draft. I would be shocked if the signability for both of those guys is reasonable and not some insane number. I'd be shocked to see those guys not get drafted high. I really would.
Coach, if you look a little bit, we talk about current players there that are heading into the college ranks. One thing that I wanted to highlight is, with so much movement at the college level in the past week, Smitty said the coaching carousel, it spun, and it spun fast, and a lot of pieces have landed. But in that, you see a lot of state of South Carolina products that are moving. Specifically, I'll highlight here from Coastal to South Carolina with Kevin Schnall. You got Hayden Johnson, Daniel Parker, Colby Richardson, Bryce Estep, Walker Mitchell, just to name a few. What is there anybody that sticks out that's in this carousel right now that's moving around that you kind of have seen play that jumps out as somebody that's going to play well at the next level?
By the way, let me mention, I forgot, Chris, I apologize. I didn't mention when we did your intro, you also played your college baseball under Gary Gilmore.
Correct.
So give that as the background, because you've been a Gary Gilmore supporter, so you know that Coastal program, and then we'll get to Rob's question. So I wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
No, I went to I like to say I went to the University of Gary Gilmore. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I was believe it or not, and I didn't stay there, but I was a Proposition 48 guy. So I had to go to junior college. I was going to the University of South Carolina out of junior college, but back then you had to graduate. So I used to sell Coca-Colas at the Gamecock games as a 12-year-old. So think about, I went down all the games. And Chris Boyle ended up being one of my best friends now. We coached together, and I used to watch him play and deliver coach. But so I didn't. So the long story short on that is, I don't get to go to South Carolina, which was my dream school, because I didn't graduate from junior college. And I thought I was getting sent to purgatory at USC Aiken. Well, it wasn't purgatory, it was heaven. It was the greatest thing ever happened to me, because I got to go play for Gary Gilmore. And he taught me so much about baseball, about toughness, about just life, about being a good person. As far as like what a Christian he is. I mean, the man, I just have so much respect for that guy. He talks the talk, walks the walk, and just is brutally honest. So yes, the Gary Gilmore in me is, I got a lot of Gary Gilmore in my coaching. I use that. But as far as those guys that you're talking about, Walker Mitchell is a guy's name that jumps out to me. Walker, I've known Walker since I went to school with his stepfather. I've known his mom forever. I've watched Walker grow up. To me, I always said Walker was a ballerina defensively, and the way he moves his feet, the way he throws, he's an absolute, just incredible third baseman. The Gamecocks got better with Walker Mitchell. He makes defensively, he's a wizard, but offensively, he's such a tough at bat. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs. He'll probably hit some more home runs next year, but he's a great player. Hayden Johnson was incredible the year before. I like all the guys. Colby Richardson guys, Colby Richardson and Daniel Parker. I mean, how good do I know those? They played for Florence Post 1 last year. We faced them twice. I mean, so Daniel Parker pitched the state championship game against us, and Sam McCutcheon from Flora, who won the state championship this year, and he pitched. They battled each other, and we beat Daniel Parker. Daniel's got great stuff. He's got 7 innings at Coastal as a freshman. Colby Richardson is a guy. His ball he's 92. whatever. I don't get caught up in the radar gun. I get caught up in how guys swing at their fastball. And Colby's fastball jumps on you. You know, it's got that poof, like that. I love Colby from the left side. And those are some good transfers right there. So, I mean, I think Schnall did a great job of bringing guys in immediately. And, you know, all's fair in love and war. You know, some people at Coastal, you know, that I'm tight with. I'm really tight with some former players there on the 2016 team. I got to know those guys really good. GK Young's one of them. And, you know, those guys totally understand what happened with Schnall. They were a little surprised that everybody had the mass exodus, but once the shock got over, that everybody understood.
Yeah, Chris Dorsey joining us here. Chris, these stories are absolutely incredible. And as we opened with, you know, what all of this means for players in the state of South Carolina. First of all, I think it's great that American Legion has come back the way that it has, because now college coaches, okay, they've got the travel ball circuit and everything. They can get the high school film and all of that, but then they can go to an American Legion game like you're playing, and you probably got, I don't know, 10, 12, maybe more college players that they can scout right then. If you would talk for a moment about just the guys. We did this right before you came on with us. You've got Chris Lamonis, Socastee High School guy, played on the Citadel College World Series team. He's going to Coastal. Monty Lee now joins Chad Holbrook in Charleston. They know how to recruit the state. Obviously, Kevin Schnall and Matt Williams, his pitching coach, moved to Columbia. They know how to recruit the state. Landon Powell's up there at North Greenville. I think Eric Bakich is probably going to renew his focus on some in-state guys based on them having a bit of a down year. So if you would, talk about what you think is going to happen maybe in the next few years and just how good it is for the players in our state to have opportunities. Now, they can go out of the state. They'll have those opportunities too. Oh, Russell Triplett at the Citadel, but just the opportunity to play for those names. And I just think there's going to be a renewed focus on in-state recruiting from those names that I mentioned.
Man, as a South Carolinian born and bred, I love it. And you nailed it. It's not like they're just recruiting guys from South Carolina because they're from South Carolina. I mean, they're recruiting guys from South Carolina, like that list I just named, because they're great players. We just got good players in South Carolina. I see it every single night. And, you know, Triplett, I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, you know, I've had the pleasure of watching his teams play for many years at Newberry, at Citadel. He brings a philosophy. He has an identity. All I ever asked at the Gamecocks in the last, since basically Coach Tanner had left, is can we please just get an identity? Think about the great teams that are in our state right now. Coastal, they have an identity offensively. Citadel, they have an identity offensively. When you have an identity offensively, you don't have to hit a home run every 2 or 3 home runs a game to win games. You can manufacture runs. And they have that identity all the time. Look at Triplett. He'll bunt guys. He'll bunt his number 3 hitter after he hit a home run. He did that in the regional. But I love look, Monty Lee. If you don't like Monty Lee, you don't like ice cream. I mean, I've never heard anybody, even when he was getting fired at Clemson, people are like, man, you know, I love Monty Lee, but you know, he didn't do a good job at Clemson. But everybody loves him. Let me tell you this about Monty. So I was at the state championship game for Flora right after he, you know, didn't get the job as an interim. He didn't get hired. Well, most guys most human nature is, oh, I didn't get the job, you know, and he probably knew he wasn't going to get the job, but there was a chance. And so, you know, packed house, Monty Lee walks right into that stadium. How you doing? Good to see y'all. Good. I mean, you know, that tells me a lot about Monty, because I've seen other coaches and I've been around that when they got fired, they didn't get, you know, they wouldn't get out of their suburban. It's because they were kind of ashamed of it. Monty's a man, got tremendous respect for him as a person. And he's a great baseball coach. I think the story of Monty Lee is not over yet. And obviously he just got the job, you know, assistant job at Charleston. But again, wait till Monty Lee's entire book is written. There'll be greatness amongst Monty Lee. And, you know, as far as Schnall, you know, he looks like the kind of guy that if you walked into a bar and all hell broke loose, you want Schnall with you. And I can tell you, as a Gamecock fan, I mean, that's refreshing to have, because Ray Tanner, the stories that like you hear from former players, like Brian Busher told me a story that he got kicked off the team 3 or 4 times, and just there was some, get the Blake out of here, I don't want you, blah blah blah. And then 2 days later, he calls him back. Why aren't you at practice? He goes, well, you kicked me off the team. Practices at 1. The tough love that Schnall and these kind of alpha males give you, it's refreshing to see to me. But Schnall's also a player's coach. And this is my favorite line. And let me see if I can remember it. With hard coaching and discipline without compassion is cruelty. Compassion without hard coaching and discipline is manipulation. All those great coaches have that. They're hard asses, but they're going to put their arm around you and give you a pat on the back and tell you, hey, look, I'm doing this for a reason. You got to do that with kids. Leadership today, everybody says kids. Oh, they're different, blah, blah, blah. No, it's the leadership. All you got to do with kids is they want to be coached hard. But when I played, I liked the coach that would be a hard ass. And then, but every now and then, hey, I know that coach loves me too. Coach Whipple, perfect example back in his day. He was a hard ass, but I knew that he had my back. So I love Stahl. Landon Powell is, what about Landon? How many times y'all heard that? What about Landon? Why Landon up for the job? Landon must be really happy up in North Greenville. So Jay Wright from Villanova once said it, don't mess with happy. And just because you're a Division II coach and you're not a Division I coach, well, I tell you what, he lives in a beautiful house up there. He's got a beautiful wife, a beautiful family. His teams win 45 to 50 games a year. He's always in the hunt. I think he's got a great deal right there. And so I would never leave. Let me throw a name out too. Jeff Jefferson at Francis Marion. Don't sleep on him. Yeah. That guy he just signed Colby Thorndike from Coastal. Colby's transferring into there. Xander Buchan caught for him last year. He was my catcher, and he was in South Carolina. He gets a lot of good players. And so he's a hard worker. Preston McDonald at Flodar.
I was gonna apologize to everybody, Chris, for forgetting like our JUCO programs too, like Flodar and SMC. Like my bad. I'm just telling you, it's everywhere in our state. It's everywhere.
Well, hey, I always say this as a businessman. So I've got 3 rules on my team. It's real simple. First, because you got to keep them simple. And one of those rules is communicate. And I say to all the guys, so I have a partner in my business at Big Red Box who has probably 35 different companies. One of my partners, I own 50%, and there's about 3 guys that own another 50%. Well, one of my partners owns probably 50 companies. And he's a, multimillionaire, successful guy. Every time I text him, within 1 minute, he gets back to me. Well, I don't want to hear, hey, you want to hear a guy that's not going to be successful. Sorry, I didn't get back to your text for 2 days. I was real busy. You know what winners do? They communicate. Winners get back to you quickly. And I'll tell you that any coach that I've ever, as a Legion coach, that I text about a player that gets back to me quickly and follows up, I just named all of them on there. Okay. The guys that don't return your phone calls or return your texts, they're not winning. And the winners, the most successful ones, do. It's funny how that works in coaching and in life and in business. And that's one of the things that I tell all my kids. Be a communicator. Be fast with your responses. That matters. Never have your voicemail full. How many times I'm sorry, this voicemail is full. I'm like, that guy's, I don't want to be, I can't hang out with that guy. He's mediocre. Who would have the voicemail full in 2026? So I got on a little tangent about that, but that fires me up because it was every time I was sitting there thinking about Preston McDonald, Jeff Jefferson, those guys, when they first started out, and I'd text them about players immediately, they would get back to me. And the guys that didn't could have gotten those players, and they wouldn't return your texts or your calls.
That's great background on how it works. That, like you said, the same way that everybody that is in our chat right now and everything that you encounter on a daily basis, that's recruiting too. It goes back. It's like sales. That's recruiting, is being there, being face to face, or getting on the phone, or making the effort. And as you said, all of those coaches. That's why I was excited to talk to you, Chris, and excited to talk about those names. I just am excited about the names and where they are. And I'm glad Monty Lee's in our state. And I'm glad Cliff Simonis is back in our state. And Preston McDonald is killing it. And all of those things that are happening in the state of South Carolina, which I know is all close to your heart too. So we got to go. We're out of time. Chris, thank you. We'll have you back on. So go. You just focus. You run Big Red Box. As a matter of fact, give your plug on your business here. You gave us such a great segment. Go ahead and tell everybody about your business as we let you go.
So we own a roll-off dumpster company and porta-johns that covers the entire state of South Carolina. Anywhere you need a porta-john or a roll-off dumpster in South Carolina, give us a call at Big Red Box Dumpster Company. We're based out of Columbia, South Carolina. We have offices in Greenville. But again, we teach our people at Big Red Box, it's not a 3 or 4 day deal to get a dumpster. We try to get dumpsters out the same day if possible, which is kind of unheard of. And that's how we kind of made our mark. This is I've owned the company for 21 years. And, we started off the company as we can get dumpsters out there faster. And real quick on the Legion thing, I started the Big Red Box the same way I started American Legion. I was a builder, developer, and I couldn't get a dumpster for about 7 days. And I thought to myself, hey, and then I saw the bill, how much they were making. And I said, hey, I can do this better and faster. That's how I got into that business. And just like when I did the Legion business, if you see a niche, you jump on it. So thanks, guys, for having me. And you know me, I'll talk baseball 24/7, 365. We do have a lot of players on our team. I don't know if you know this or not, but we've got a lot of players on our team going to college at Charleston and USC Sumter, Citadel. So our team's probably got 10 commits, and there's a little. I would like to I could break some news on you right now, but I'll wait till next week. I don't want to spoil one of our players just got a big offer yesterday that I think he may accept next week. So we'll talk about that one. Okay, a little teaser.
What? Chris, you know who to text, right? You text us first, Chris.
I will. I will definitely when he commits. He's excited. He's very excited, and he's a great player, and he deserves it. So we'll let you know. You'll be the first person, Matt. I promise.
I promise I'll get back to you because we know how that ticks you off. All right. Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it, man. Good luck to reach some post 215, and we'll be right back in touch. That is Chris Dorsey, and that was fantastic. Rob, we'll get to a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap this show up. And obviously a lot of chatter in the chat box as well. We'll try to get to some of those. And you can talk about where you're going to be this week because I know you've got football news that may break this week. And we'll certainly jump on that when we come back. Final segment of 4 Quarter Friday presented by the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association. Next.
Leading Edge Fundraising is the #1 fundraising solution in South Carolina for middle and high schools, club teams, and colleges. At Leading Edge, a personal representative does the work for you to make more money in just 1 hour. Leading Edge is your solution. It's a one-stop shop for over 10 different fundraising options that all run off the same proven process. Don't stress about insufficient budgets or lack of materials. Contact Leading Edge today and raise funds fast. Leading Edge, South Carolina. Raise more, do more, win more. LeadingEdgeFundraising.com.
Insurance protects you from accidents you can't see coming. Bill Maloney with South Carolina Farm Bureau can handle it all with home, auto, and life insurance options. Bill is the ultimate family man, and he'll treat you like a part of his family too. Call Bill and feel safe on the road and at home. South Carolina Farm Bureau is offering new auto rates across the state, so don't wait. Call 803-637-6246. Bill Maloney, protecting your family like it's his family.
Palm Casual Outdoor Patio Furniture proudly supports high school athletics across South Carolina. If it's time to make your outdoor space the best it can be, with lifetime warranties and guarantees, visit one of our Palm Casual stores in Myrtle Beach, Bluffton, Somerville, or Mount Pleasant. PalmCasual.com. PalmCasual.com. Turn on the lights. It's Friday night.
This is the fourth quarter and fourth quarter Friday. Matt Smith, Rob Williams. Rob, that was a lot of fun just chopping it up with Chris Dorsey, again, head coach, GM for Richland Post 215. But that means it didn't leave us a lot of time to cover some of what, you've been keeping your eye on. And by the way, you're doing a tremendous job. Everybody, just, get your notifications going, get everything. If you're with us right now, please subscribe to this channel, like it, hit the notifications, because you want to make sure you get it's very short, but every day Rob is knocking it out, the morning minute from Fourth Quarter Friday, and every day you're going to learn something as we celebrate what the coaches and players in our state are doing. So if you would, Rob, tell us what the big news you've had this week and like what you're keeping your eye on. Like you can tease. It's as I've been saying, it's the year of the running back in our state. And I know you've been all over that and just, and seeing some of the commitment, not just the commitments, but the offers roll out as well. Yeah. So tell us about what you think is coming up maybe in the next 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We talked a little bit about basketball as we continue, and Morning Minute is just a snapshot, as you said, Smitty. There's no way to capture all of the news. However, we will be capturing much more of it at fourquarterfriday.com, a Rivals and On3 site coming to you very soon, covering high school sports across the state of South Carolina in a way that you've never seen it before, guys. I want to make sure that there are message boards involved in this. So a little bit earlier, we had Taylor Novinger in here in the chat, poking a little bit at Chris Dorsey from Sumter to Richland. You are, James is in here, is a James Island guy. Let's see what else I can find over here. Meredith, we know, is a Lexington girl. So we have all of these schools represented, and when you're on fourquarterfriday.com, you'll not only be getting news and an analysis and coverage from us, but you'll have an opportunity to interact there on the message boards and kind of go back and forth a little bit, all in good fun, as we do in high school sports in the state. So, yeah, obviously baseball's in full swing, pun fully intended there. Basketball is rolling with the live period. But on the football field, Smitty, we continue to see players rising up during camp season, and this is where offers really come into play. You mentioned the year of the running back, and that is the case certainly this year, led by, of course, Trey Segarra at Burns, who we're still awaiting a commitment from. That is, I think, that is upcoming here for us. We also know that Aiden Gibson, we've covered that, is headed to Penn State. Trenton Lynch at Spartanburg is committed to Rutgers. And you can kind of make your way across the state. Ty Phillips at Irmo just this past week committed to Alabama. So on the heels of the Jaden Bryant Irmo news, they get a running back committed to Alabama. This is a 4-3 kid, Smitty. He is blazing. He's built really well. I've been out to practice to check them out, and he's really well put together. He's going to be dynamic for Irmo this year, and he's headed to Tuscaloosa. You got just backs across the state. Calvin Wofford is a kid at Crestwood, who's a 2027 prospect, committed to Charlotte this past week. Tall, lean, a little bit of a basketball track frame. He'll continue to put on weight as he gets into the season and get ready to go between the tackles a little more. But, Smitty, we look beyond 2027. First of all, it's a little bit unprecedented what we're looking at across the state in terms of running backs. We've talked about this off air. Not really sure when we've seen this before. But then that next group is 2029. We talked about Harper Ellerby with Corey Helms last week at Chapin. He's a 2029 prospect. And this week, both Carter Nash at Dorman and Braden Bolts at Crestwood, both 2029 running backs, got offers while in Columbia from Shane Beamer. So targeting these 2029 backs. Those guys have offers already, Smitty. These 2029 prospects are getting a lot of attention, And 2029, it feels like, man, it's what year is it right now? Those kids are coming. They're coming.
Well,
Next
what
year
you need,
Spring Valley over there. I shouted out a lot of schools. I see you over there.
what everybody needs to know is when you go to a high school game in your community this year, if you stay with us, you've got a chance. And this is, as you said, almost unprecedented. You might see a game between two future Division I running backs in the same game. I mean, in the course of history in South Carolina, we've seen that before, but just usually, it's like, oh, Demetrius Summers is playing here and Dorman's got a lot of college linebackers. So you see that matchup. But now the running backs, as you said, of the ones that are going to be seniors all the way down to sophomores is just incredible. I don't know that we've seen a run like this where Alabama, Penn State, and obviously South Carolina and Clemson are in on all these guys. We don't know where Trey Segura is going to go, but there are so many Power 4 guys are going to be playing in the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten. So many of those guys are going to be on high school fields near you. You can get in for $10 or less to see the future of college football in our state. We got to go because it's time for Inside the Gamecocks here on our network. Thanks to everybody that helps bring this together. Obviously to you, Rob, for all the work you do, the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association. This has been the HD Laws Studios, Hewitt Diamaduras. Thank you to them. Thank you to everybody that supports 4 Quarter Friday. We've got to roll, but hey, pay attention. Stay with us. Go to X at 4 Quarter SC. Definitely stay with us on the YouTube page. You'll get the Morning Minute, all those things. And this way you won't miss any news about the coming website. And by the way, thank you. Thank you to everybody that was blowing up the chat box today. And I'm sorry we didn't spend more time with you. We were trying to give Chris Dorsey a lot of time to talk about all of those kids. But we saw you. I saw all the love. I saw, as you said, just chopping it up back and forth. Thank you, because that's what we want this to be. We want this to be a place where everybody that cares about high school sports in the Palmetto State can come together. For Rob Williams, I'm Matt Smith. Inside the Gamecocks with Jamie Bradford is next.